ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 15, verse 23. Anvikshikya shokamoho dambham mahad upasaya yogantarayan maunena himsam kamadyanihaya. Translation: by discussing spiritual knowledge, one can conquer lamentation and illusion. By serving a great devotee, one can become prideless. By keeping silent, one can avoid obstacles on the path of mystic yoga. And simply by stopping sense gratification, one can conquer envy. So in the previous verse said, by making plans with determination, one can give up lusty desires. By giving up envy, one should conquer anger. By discussing disadvantages of accumulating wealth, one should give up greed. By discussing truth, one should give up fear. Now here, by giving up envy, one should conquer anger. How to give up envy is now being said in this verse. Uh, Internet is slow. Our website is slow. Hmm. So here it's saying that one can conquer envy by stopping sense gratification. See, look at this sequence. So if you stop sense gratification, so by making plans with determination, we can stop sense gratification. Okay. So by stopping sense gratification, one can conquer envy. Now, once envy is conquered, anger is controlled. Right. So everything starts with sense gratification. And we can't generally artificially stop sense gratification because we have developed a taste for sense gratification over lifetimes. So now we have to develop higher taste. Develop higher taste of bhakti, and then automatically the taste for sense gratification will go. Once taste for sense gratification goes, envy goes. When envy goes, anger goes. So it's a very important thing. And again, for stopping sense gratification, which is illusion, one has to discuss spiritual knowledge. And somebody who has pride, they can get rid of their pride by serving a great devotee. And mauna is very important because it avoids obstacles on the path of yoga. Obstacles meaning generally we talk some nonsense, then prajalpa, then unnecessary things going to the head, etc., etc. So remain silent. Doesn't mean that zip your mouth, talk only about Krishna. But you have to talk about Krishna. If you don't talk about Krishna, then our speech doesn't get purified. Okay, purport. If one's son has died, one may certainly be affected by lamentation and illusion and cry for the dead son. But one may overcome lamentation and illusion by considering the verses of Bhagavad Gita. Jatasya hi dhruvam mrityur dhruvam janma mritasya cha
Hare Krishna
tasmada
Prabhuji,
pariyarayat.
Pranam. Prabhuji,
Yeah.
you are on mute.
Oh, Krishna. Is it? What then?
No,
We were
Prabhu, we
wait.
can
No,
hear you.
Prabhu, we can
We
hear
can
you.
hear you.
We could
Oh,
hear
is
you,
it?
Prabhu.
I thought like, what am I doing all this time? Okay. Okay. I
We can
thought I
hear
had
you,
more.
Prabhu.
Yeah, okay. Okay, जातस्य हि ध्रुवं मृत्युर्ध्रुवं जन्म मृतस्य च तस्माद् अपरिहार्यार्थे न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. As the soul transmigrates, one who has taken birth must give up the present body and then he must certainly accept another body. So there should not be any cause for lamentation of somebody dying. Therefore, Lord Krishna says, Dhiras tatra namuyyati. One who is dhira, sober, who is learned in philosophy and established in knowledge, cannot be unhappy over the transmigration of the soul. So, Prabhupada has written about the first aspect here, which is to discuss spiritual knowledge. Of course, the whole idea of discussing spiritual knowledge is to equip ourselves with um, sutras, with secrets which can actually work, in the core of our heart. Um, for example, I mean, just knowing what is what, that I am not the body, I am spirit soul. First, we can understand saying that, okay, then everything connected with the body is illusion, lamentation. Then, for example, how do we work? What mood we have to work? Then Krishna speaks, Vyasadeva speaks in Bhagavatam. Dharmasvanuஷ்ఠितापं sanvishvakshenukatasoya notpadayati yatiratim shamaye vaikevalam. Uh, so there are verses which explain the philosophy behind different aspects of life. So which is why we have to very scrutinizingly read this. When we read, we should make notes. See, just like in the previous verse, saying somebody has pride, what should they do? They should serve great devotees. Now this is the solution. This is the secret. We don't know we know what the problems are. Some people also don't know what the problems are. But if you know what the problems are, Bhagavatam gives solutions. So that's spiritual knowledge, and we have to discuss. Hmm. By discussing spiritual knowledge, one can conquer lamentation and illusion. Like, for example, those who are too attached to family, children, they can hear about Chitraketu, how he lost his son, Harsha Shoka. Right, and generally about if you are too attached to material things, then how that everything is lost, and then how all Rajarshis in the past used to just give up their kingdom and go to the forest. So when we hear all these things, we can understand saying that, okay, why am I so attached to these things? Hmm. By serving a great devotee, one can become prideless. Actually, there's one more way to remove pride is to look at the smile of Krishna. Bhagavatam says elsewhere. Um, very relevant for egoistic people like me. So then, we look at and we try to serve great devotees like, Guru and senior Vaishnavas. And how does serving great devotee remove pride? The two ways. One is by the mercy of the pure devotee, pride goes. Second, when we look at the accomplishments of those great devotees, which will be so much, more than what we possibly done or can even imagine to think, then we will understand saying that what nonsense. I mean, for what reason am I being proud? Looking at the smile of Krishna, in one way, this thought came to my mind. I have not read this, but I'm just speculating that Krishna smiling, saying, "What have you done, Baba? Why are you being so egoistic?" He smile, saying that you are so small in the material world. Gives us that realization, saying that Krishna does inconceivable things, and we are doing nothing, and still we are being proud. And Krishna is also smiling, saying that, hey, see, whatever you are able to do is only my mercy. Mm. So we can understand by looking at Krishna's smile also, saying that our pride is useless, worthless. Mm. And like I said, stopping sense gratification is only possible when we develop higher taste. Mm. Mm. Actually, today some new devotees came for our Mangalarti here, and some devotees attended, and they were very happy. They said, "Oh, this is so nice." I said, "Yeah, please come again." Uh, so like that, we have to give them higher taste. Of course, higher taste can even just be prasadam for many. Could be kirtan for others. Could be Shravanam for some others, could be just association of devotees for others, could be just chanting in the association of devotees for others. So each of us can have our own activity in Krishna consciousness, book distribution, etc., right? Giving classes. So we should find our higher taste in Krishna consciousness. Mm. And whenever we get attracted by lower sense gratification, we should remember the happiness that we experience when we engage in that higher taste activity. Then we can understand, no, 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 this is low class. But of course, initially, we might not be able to fully control it because of lack of sufficient spiritual strength. But then, as we continue our Tivra Bhakti, then we will get enough strength by the mercy of Guru Krishna, Acharyas, Prabhupada, Radha, Krishna, Jagannath, etc. That we will be able to overcome our anarthas. So practical verses, these are all. Mm. कृपया भूतजं दुःखं दैवं जह्यात् समाधिना आत्मजं योगवीर्येण निद्रां सत्त्वः निषेवया. By good behavior and freedom from envy, one should counteract sufferings due to other living entities. See, now there is further connection. So if you become free from envy, uh, and if you have good behavior, then you will not be affected by the sufferings due to other living entities. Uh, Adibhautika. We don't get affected because we are free from envy. So we are not uh, thinking, saying that, oh, how can he do this to me? Mm. So, and then along with good behavior, then we will be nice to other people, even if they are not being nice to us. By meditation in trance, one should counteract sufferings due to providence. So, this is very high order. We can't maybe understand. So, if there are sufferings due to providence, which means our karma phala, when we are in meditation in trance, which is samadhi, our mind gets disconnected from the world around us, from our sufferings. And especially those engaged in bhakti yoga, they can experience the happiness of being in connection with Krishna, which is incomparable to, even Brahmananda, which is just considered like a drop. So when we can engage in meditation in trance, of course, not for Kali Yuga, for Kali Yuga, it is japa meditation. One can counteract sufferings due to providence. And also, of course, even that counteraction will happen because Sarvadharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Raja, Krishna will also take away those sufferings in course of time. By practicing Hatha Yoga, Pranayama, and so forth, one should counteract sufferings due to the body and mind. Similarly, by developing the mode of goodness, especially in regard to eating, one should conquer sleep. Okay. Solution for those who have too much sleeping. Now, what should you do? Develop mode of goodness, especially regard to eating. Now, what is mode of goodness with respect to eating? Anybody wants to say?
Eating prasadam, Prabhu.
Eating prasadam, okay. Then,
No
Avoiding
spicy,
overeating.
huh?
no spicy food.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, okay. Prasadam means
Avoiding,
food in the mode of goodness which is offered to Krishna. That is taken. Then,
yeah, avoiding overeating of the prasad and
overeating. Yuktahara viharasya. Yuktahara. So we should only take as much as is required. Especially, those who are struggling to get up in the morning, early in the morning. Get up in the morning. Get up early in the morning. Your dinner should be super light or eat at 6:30 or 7 o'clock. If you want to have a relatively heavier meal, eat at 6:37. If you're eating at 8:39, just keep it super light. Because of that hunger, you will get up in the morning. You can get up and then eat something if you want. That's fine. But it's not going to make you oversleep. Very, very important. Actually, now all devotees here, who are coming for Mangalarti, they are coming at 4:30, which means that they should have got up at least 3:45. Apart from devotees who are at least those who are just coming to attend Mangalarti, they might come at 4:30, 4:35. For which 2 people, 3 people coming means they should at least get up at 4 o'clock, if not earlier. Which means that they are all now somehow trying. Of course, then devotees come and then sleep during chanting, drowsing, etc. But oh, they'll get mercy because Jagannath, Radha, Krishna, they're saying that all these devotees are getting up and coming every day. So they'll get mercy and they'll overcome their sleep. But practically, if we can little bit reduce our quantity, which is why Prabhupada's recommendation in ashram was night is only murmura. What is that? Puffed rice, not puffed rice. What is that? What is uh, what is it called in English? Kadle puri. What is it called?
Yeah, Paprasi bolte ho.
Puffed
Kadle
rice.
puri ki.
Okay, not the poha puffed rice, but the other puffed rice. Mm,
Right.
and milk. That's all for ashram vasis. No prasadam in the night. So ideally they should take in the morning and then afternoon or like really early evening and finish. If they don't need, they should not take any more. Mm. So these are again practical tips. What our problem is, we will not follow any of these, and then we will complain about us not being able to get up early in the morning and not able to see. Just imagine if suppose say you can sleep by 10 o'clock and get up at 4, right? Before going to office, anybody, of course, unless you have shifts, you will go to office by 8:30 maybe, right? And apart from possibly most men at least. Who will not have more seva than maybe just dropping their children to school or to the bus or whatever,
Good is there.
right? Of course, some might have more seva in the morning, but you will easily get 3 to 3.5 hours. Minimum 3 hours you will get, right? If more also is possible, but minimum 3 hours sadhana, which means that you finish your chanting and 1 hour reading.
Finish with the but.
Hare Krishna, somebody is on is unmuted. Who's that?
मुरमुरे के बारे में हाँ प्रसाद में हाँ क्या
Hmm.
ये रात को
Okay.
उठा जाएगा am I unmuted?
Yeah, I muted you, Mantaj. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So these are a lot of practical tips. Purport. By practice, one should avoid eating in such a way that other living entities will be disturbed and suffer. Of course, Prabhupada is now talking about killing animals, etc. Since I suffer when pinched or killed by others, I should not attempt to pinch or kill any other living entity. People do not know that because of killing innocent animals, they themselves will have to suffer severe reactions from material nature. Any country where people indulge in unnecessary killing of animals will have to suffer from wars and pestilence imposed by material nature. We are seeing this. Which are the countries now engaged in war? All meat eating countries. And this is imposed by material nature. Comparing one's own suffering to the suffering of others, therefore, one should be kind to all living entities. One cannot avoid the sufferings inflicted by providence, and therefore, when suffering comes, one should fully absorb oneself in chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Okay, if anybody wanted to know what should I do when I'm suffering, what should you do? Fully absorb oneself in chanting Maha Mantra. One can now avoid sufferings from body and mind by practicing mystic Hatha Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Pranayama, Asana, all this. Okay, but more importantly, when one is suffering, hmm, when one is suffering, one should fully absorb oneself in chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. But generally, what we do is we lose our consciousness, we lose our cool, we become problem conscious. We try too much to counteract our problem. Now, Prabhupada is not saying any of those. Prabhupada is simply saying you just chant, become fully absorbed in chanting Hare Krishna. See, which is why we have to read Prabhupada's purports because we will have our own understanding of what I should do when I am suffering. Prabhupada is very clearly saying you just fully absorb yourself in chanting Hare Krishna. Nothing else needs to be done. And if Krishna is pleased, then problems will go. If Krishna wants, if he thinks that it's going to help us make progress in devotional life, he'll take away the problem. If he thinks that problem being there will make us more Krishna conscious, he will keep the problem. And now just imagine what devotees are doing. Devotees are trying to fight against Krishna, against Krishna's will. Such foolishness, na? If Krishna wants that problem to remain because he thinks that that is conducive for our devotion, now we are trying hard to fight against it. Against which Shakti? The most powerful person in the whole creation. So it's foolish, childish. So if you are suffering, simply understand it's Krishna's mercy and continue chanting Hare Krishna, do your services and wait for Krishna's mercy. Tattenu kampam susamikshamano gunjana yevatma kritam vipakam. So we have to just wait for mercy. There's anyway no other option. Anyway, it's only illusion to think that, okay, I have a problem, I will do something and get over it. It's just incidental that if you have a solution, you might do something and get over it. If there is no solution, you might do something but not be able to get over it. And then most devotees are in this, dilemma, confusion, saying that should I do or not do? A lot of devotees keep asking me. The answer is very simple. If you can remain without doing anything, remain. But your mind will not allow you to remain. So you will become jittery. So you try something. That trying something is more of pacifying the mind than anything else. Please try to understand this. See, when we have a problem and if there is a solution to the problem, when the time comes for the solution will automatically come. You don't have to go to the solution. Solution will come to you, or solution will get you. Your karma phala will get you to the solution. You can say that I am just going to sit, like lock myself in one place and sit. Let me see how solution comes. And then solution will come and drag you to the solution. Karma will drag you to the solution. So you don't have to really do anything by your own free will or your own intelligence. If I don't do, what will happen? No, nothing. Nothing like that. All you have to do is just depend on Krishna, understand that karma is there, karma phala is there. Krishna is in control. So, like I said, the answer to whether I should do something or not is your maturity and faith in Krishna. That is the answer. There's nothing else. And like I said, again, I'm repeating, if there is a solution and if you have to do something to get solution, the karma phala will make you do it. Don't worry. Don't worry that you are so powerful that you might even override or overrule karma phala. Not possible. So this is very, very important to understand. Then you can be peaceful. Rajastamascha satvena satvam chopashamena cha etat sarvam gurau bhaktya purusho hyanja sajayet. One must conquer modes of passion and ignorance by developing mode of goodness. Very, very important. And then one must become detached from mode of goodness by promoting oneself to the platform of Shuddha Sattva. All this can be automatically done if one engages in the service of the spiritual master with faith and devotion. In this way, one can conquer the influence of the modes of nature. See, understand this. First of all, we have to try and develop mode of goodness. See, naturally, our modes, we are in whatever passion, ignorance, etc. We cannot just let ourselves be driven by those modes. We have to try and develop mode of goodness. Like I said, we have to look at those verses in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, which are talking about mode of goodness. And we should recognize what aspects of my life uh, are in passion and ignorance. And plan with determination to overcome that passion and ignorance. See, which is the reason why Rupa Goswami says in Upadeshamrita, Utsaha Nishchaya Dhairya. If you don't have enthusiasm, we cannot make progress. Many times I see devotees are not enthusiastic to find out where they stand, how they have to make progress. Very few of them are there. They come and ask. But most of the others, I have to go to them, saying that, how are you doing? How is your bhakti? But it should be the other way around. Devotees have to be enthusiastic to make progress and they should come and ask, okay, This is what my schedule is. I'm struggling. This I'm not able to do. That I'm not able to do. And then we'll get solutions. And most of the solutions will be to bring us to more of goodness. Of course, then one has to raise to the platform of Shuddha Sattva. But all this can be automatically done. All this meaning everything so far that has been spoken about in terms of solutions can automatically happen if one engages in the service of Guru with faith and devotion. So this faith and devotion are very, very important. Sometimes we undermine or we don't give enough importance to Guru's position. Guru Naramati, we think of Guru as Nara, as a human being. It's offensive. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado. So we have to understand what Guru is saying. If I simply try to do that, then I can overcome all anarthas. Basically, that's the answer. Solution for getting over all anarthas is simply the mercy of Guru. And Guru gives mercy only when we are surrendered with faith and devotion. Right? In this way, one can conquer the influence of the modes of nature. So, see, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Traikunya Vishaya Veda Nistraikunya Bhavarjuna. Krishna says, Arjuna tells Arjuna, okay, give up, raise above the three modes. And then he says, how can you raise above the three modes? Is by practicing pure devotion. What is required to practice pure devotion? Guidance of a Guru. So all these three things together will help us overcome all our nonsense, anarthas. Just by treating the root cause of an ailment, one can conquer all bodily pains and sufferings. Right? Similarly, just see. Similarly, if one is devoted and faithful to the spiritual master, he can conquer the influence of Sattva Guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna very easily. Yogis and Gnanis practice in many ways to conquer the senses, but the Bhakta immediately attains the mercy of the Supreme Person of Godhead through the mercy of the spiritual master. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado. The spiritual master is favorably inclined. One naturally receives the mercy of the Supreme Lord. See, favorably inclined. Now, Guru doesn't have to, explicitly come and tell us like this or that or whatever. If he just, and Guru knows implicitly by Paramatma connection whether we are faithful and surrendered. It doesn't have to be direct physical external connection. And one naturally receives the mercy of the Supreme Lord. If you're simply following the the directions of Guru, then naturally one receives mercy of the Supreme Lord. And by the mercy of the Supreme Lord, one immediately becomes transcendental, conquering all the influences of Rajoguna, Sattva-guna, and Tamoguna within this material world. So it's all together. It's all connected. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Sagunan samati ityaitan brahma bhoyaya kalpate. If one is a pure devotee acting under the directions of the Guru, one easily gets the mercy of the Supreme Lord and thus becomes immediately situated on the transcendental platform. This is explained in the next verse. Prasad. Yasya sakshat bhagavati gnana deepa prade gurau martyasad dhihi shutam tasya sarvam kunjara shauchavat. Kunjara shaucha. Spiritual master should be considered to be directly the Supreme Lord because he gives transcendental knowledge for enlightenment. Of course, should be considered to be directly representative of the Supreme Lord, right? We cannot call Guru as Krishna. And Prabhupada was very, very upset when some devotees used to do that. So we have to respect Guru. Yes, Sakshat Haritvena. We should treat Guru as good as Krishna. We should respect and serve Guru as good as Krishna. Now, because he gives transcendental knowledge for enlightenment. Consequently, for one who maintains the material conception that the spiritual master is an ordinary human being, everything is frustrated. So everything is frustrated. We should not consider spiritual master as an ordinary human being. His enlightenment and his Vedic studies and knowledge are like the bathing of an elephant, which is useless, right? You bathe in the water, elephant bathes in the water, then comes out and puts dust. So this is showing the importance of guru in our life. Don't treat him as an ordinary human being. It's very, very important. It is recommended that one honor the spiritual master as being on an equal status with the Supreme Lord. Sakshadharitvena samasta shastrer. This is enjoined in every scripture. Acharyam mam vijaniyat. One should consider the Acharya to be as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In spite of all these instructions, if one considers the spiritual master an ordinary human being, one is doomed. So again, we should understand how should we see if a guru is undergoing suffering. The only way we should look at it is that it is because of the sins of the disciples. There is nothing else. Guru is not an ordinary person to suffer. And Guru is not an ordinary person to come out of the suffering like we come out. So, neither the problem nor the solution that is there for ordinary living beings applies for Guru. Which means that Guru is suffering because of sins. And Guru's solution is not medicine. Guru's solution is actually that disciples transforming themselves, reforming themselves, stopping sinful activities. And we might think that, okay, no, more rest, more medicine might help. It might be temporarily, but again, something else will happen. Why? Because the root cause is not cured. Mm. So yesterday, actually day before, His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, briefly he had landed in Bangalore. He was going to somewhere Salem or somewhere. So and then we went to the airport because we had arranged some transportation, etc. And then Maharaj was not well, and then everybody was feeling bad. And then simply one senior devotee said, this is just because of sinful activities of disciples. Now, we might try to do a lot of things to make the guru physically comfortable, etc., but that's not the solution. That's not the solution. The solution is that devotees, disciples should become free from sins. So don't treat guru as an ordinary human being. His study of the Vedas and his austerities and penances for enlightenment are all useless, like the bathing of an elephant. An elephant bathes in a lake quite thoroughly, but as soon as it comes on the shore, it takes some dust from the ground and strews it over its body. Thus, there is no meaning to the elephant's bath. One may argue by saying that since the spiritual master's relatives and the men of his neighborhood consider him an ordinary human being, what is the fault on the part of the disciple who considers the spiritual master an ordinary human being? This will be answered in the next verse. But the injunction is that the spiritual master should never be considered an ordinary human being. One should strictly adhere to the instructions of the spiritual master, for if he is pleased, certainly Supreme Godhead is pleased. So let's see what is being said in the next verse. एष वै भगवान् साक्षात् प्रधानपुरुषेश्वरः योगेश्वरैर्विमृग्याङ्घ्रिर्लोकोऽयं मन्यते नरम्. Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, is the master of all other living entities and of the material nature. His lotus feet are sought and worshipped by great saintly persons, like Vyasa. Nonetheless, there are fools who consider Lord Krishna an ordinary human being. So, like considering Lord Krishna as an ordinary human being, we should also not consider Krishna's relatives, Krishna's representatives as ordinary human being. See, the example of Lord Krishna as being the Supreme Personality of Godhead is appropriate in regard to understanding the spiritual master. The spiritual master is called Sevak Bhagavan, the servitor personality of Godhead, just like Balaram is called Sevak Bhagavan, and Krishna is called Sevya Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead who is to be worshipped. The spiritual master is the worshipper God, whereas the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the worshipable God. This is the difference between spiritual master and the Supreme Person of Godhead. Another point, Bhagavad Gita, which constitutes the instructions of the Supreme Person of Godhead, is presented by the spiritual master as it is, without deviation. Therefore, the absolute truth is present in the spiritual master. Oh, look at this. Amazing statement. The absolute truth is present in the spiritual master. As clearly stated in text 26, Gnana Deepa Prade, the Supreme Person of Godhead gives real knowledge to the entire world. And the spiritual master, as the representative of the Supreme Godhead, carries the message throughout the world. Therefore, on the absolute platform, there is no difference between the spiritual master and the Supreme Person of Godhead. If someone considers the Supreme Personality, Krishna or Rama, to be an ordinary human being, this does not mean that the Lord becomes an ordinary human being. Similarly, if the family members of the spiritual master, who is the bona fide representative of the Supreme Person of Godhead, if the relatives consider the spiritual master an ordinary human being, this does not mean that he becomes an ordinary human being. The spiritual master is as good as the Supreme Person of Godhead, and therefore, one who is very serious about spiritual advancement must regard the spiritual master in this way. Even a slight deviation from this understanding can create disaster in the disciples' Vedic studies and austerities, or in the disciples' spiritual life. So, under no situation we should think that the Guru is an ordinary human being. Very, 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 very important, right? That our consciousness with respect to Guru must be super clear. He is not an ordinary man. We should respect, he accept his instructions as good as those of Lord Krishna. We should see his exalted position as the Sevak Bhagwan. We should see that his body is not material. We should see that his bodily suffering is just because of the sins of his disciples and nothing else. If one can remain fixed in this consciousness about the spiritual master, then one will surrender, serve him with faith and devotion, and then everything will get accomplished. One will go back to Krishna. And again, like I keep repeating this, one who is initiated or who is getting initiated from a particular spiritual master must make it a habit to hear from the spiritual master regularly. Must be daily, because otherwise there's no way we can understand what Guru wants, and there is no way we can actually surrender to his instructions. We will remain independent, which is defeats the purpose of initiation. Okay, so I'll stop here. If there are any questions, comments, you can answer.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Yeah, Prabhuji, just wanted to add one anecdote. So I was talking to Rishikesh Prabhu, our god brother, and he was telling that how, I mean, Prabhupada says, right, that Guru is not ordinary human being. So I got a proof of it. So Rishikesh Prabhu was saying that once he was washing Guru Maharaj's clothes, and he could basically see the sweat, but instead of like our sweat will be stinking, right? And he was saying that the sweat of my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Bhaktivika Swami Maharaj, it was fragrant. So basically, that sweat was like a scent. He said, I literally did not believe because Guru Maharaj doesn't use any scent. So I just thought of went and checking the other god brothers that has somebody sprinkled the scent, right? They told no. Then he got the realization that it is Guru Maharaj's sweat, which was actually fragrant. So this shows that he's like any guru who is basically surrendered in our parampara, at least I can say, to Srila Prabhupada. He is not an ordinary human being.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anyway, I mean, we
Just
don't need,
wanted to share.
yeah, even without proof, we can accept it. But yes, when devotees experience these things firsthand, then their conviction on the statements of Shastra will become more firm. Yeah, but Shastra is clearly saying that non-different. So we have to take that. Right? And yeah, I mean, so many examples can be given of how Guru sees through us. He sees our heart directly. And he sees all the nonsense that is there in our heart. All these experiences are there. So yeah, so he is not different. He can not different. He's a representative, and we should treat him as non-different. But we don't call him God, but we should treat him Sakshat Hari. Just like Hari, we should treat him. Okay, thank you for that. Yeah. Anything else?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Pranam.
Yeah, Pranam Mataji.
Prabhu, regarding the problems we have today, what you explained, it's like most of the times we try to ignore them. But how about the
Mm-hmm.
people around us? Like they will give this
Correct.
solution. Why don't
Correct.
you do this? Why don't
Temple
you do
come.
that? Why are you not doing this? So how to
Yeah, who?
handle?
Yeah, so if again, it depends on who it is.
Okay.
It depends on who is saying. So
Okay.
sometimes we might have to do some things to avoid complication, meaning otherwise it will complicate the problem further. See, one place Prabhupada says that if it can be avoided, you simply in front of them say yes, 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 and not do it. Okay. These are all diplomatic ways of practicing devotion in Kali Yuga. You say yes, 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 oh, with full enthusiasm, and then just don't do it. That's one solution. The other solution is that if they are not really very important, yeah, you can just say yes and then forget it. If they are, yeah, like I know in your situation, possibly, people in the house, then it becomes slightly difficult, right? So we'll have to see case to case. Mm, One of the ways that can be addressed also is yeah, especially if those people in the house also come for satsang, etc., then ask questions which would be relevant for them, which get answered, which when answered helps them understand, saying that okay, this is the reality. But yeah, otherwise you have to just tolerate. That's all. Can't do much.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yeah. Of course, pray to Krishna. Saying that I want to follow this. Please help me. And Guru. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Anything else? Anybody? All okay. Okay.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna,
all for
Prabhu.
joining. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dhanavad Pranam. So,
Pranam,
Prabhu,
Pranam.
so earlier we were talking about that statement, Prabhu. So, where if you have a problem, just wait, and
Yeah.
then the solution will come automatically.
Correct.
I mean, how practical that is, Prabhu? I mean, in the sense that let's say you're infected with a disease,
Yeah.
and then you have to go to a doctor for.
Like I said, right? I answered that. I said, if you
Oh,
can be
ah,
without doing anything, remain.
yeah. Okay.
Okay. And there are
Mm,
some people who will just continue to suffer. Like Prabhupada,
mm,
once he had like a bad tooth pain.
mm,
Okay, and then the disciples wanted to take him to the dentist. He said no. He had some. He was anyway in this chemical line, right? So he had some things. He mixed it up and he took and he said it will take care. 3 days he suffered,
yes. Yes.
but it went after that. Uh, then yeah, we know that he was in a hospital and then he just escaped from the hospital. So you see, it depends on our own conviction, strength, faith in Krishna. That sometimes it's very individual, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Which
Yes.
I'm saying,
Yes.
if you go crazy by not doing anything, you better do it because then it'll worsen your Krishna consciousness. If it is going to
Yes.
strengthen your Krishna consciousness by remaining idle, not doing anything, then do it. Ultimately, we should understand solution and it has to come, how it has to come, it will come. We don't have to break our heads over it.
Yeah, I mean, at least my experience, because I've been an asthmatic patient, right, since
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
childhood. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
but the amount of suffering, no matter how many doctors you visited, no matter what, the amount of
Yeah.
suffering has not gone down.
Mm.
I could see that going down. I don't know. I mean, I cannot say it's after Krishna consciousness, but definitely it has gone down drastically.
Yeah.
drastically gone down after coming into Krishna consciousness.
Yeah.
I
See,
don't know.
the other thing is when we have such serious, whatever chronic conditions, etc., right? Then acute conditions, maybe not chronic. So one of the things that we should also realize that it is because of deep karma phala, right?
Yes, yes.
And the only solution is shelter of Krishna. There's no other solution. I mean,
Yes.
whatever you do would be momentary at best, right? So,
Mhm.
and like I said before, also when we are suffering through situations, issues like this, we have to remember how bad karma we should have done. If we have to continue to suffer, then what happens? It makes us more humble. Then we will surrender more. Then automatically, when we come to that stage of full surrender to Krishna, automatically Krishna takes away all this, right?
Yes, because in one way it kept me in at least in mode of goodness, towards mode,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
completely,
yeah,
towards mode of
yeah, yeah,
goodness,
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
had to
absolutely.
avoid a lot of things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good. Somehow, either it has to be forced or it we do it willingly. Somehow we have to do. That's all. We have to move. We have to progress. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Anything else?
Hey Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah.
So today I realized one thing. So it's
Mm.
not just that we are following the four regulative principles and reading the books. It's like we have to develop our love for Guru Maharaj
Oh, yeah.
so that
Absolutely.
we will not commit any sins, keeping in mind that he will be affected with
Yes.
that.
Very good. Very good. Good realization. Very good realization. Actually, if we can, if every devotee, disciple, can just remember this, saying that the reason why four regulative principles is because breaking four regulative principles is one of the sins. Right, but overarching point is what you are making, saying that I have to be free of sins because otherwise I will be responsible for my Guru Maharaj suffering, which is nonsense. If I'm not helping his mission, at least let me not create problem in his mission, right? So at least if that consciousness comes in the minds of devotees, a lot of things will change and gurus will possibly be able to spread more Krishna consciousness more widely. Right now, in one way, we are pulling them down because of our nonsense, because of our sinful life, we are pulling them down. We are preventing them from doing their full-fledged service that they can by becoming obstacles, really, seriously. Yeah, very good realization. Thank you, Mataji. I think that was very well put.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Yeah,
Prabhuji,
yeah.
my question is this that
I'm not able to hear you, Chiranjeev Prabhu.
Prabhu, am I audible, Prabhuji?
No, you're not audible.
Prabhuji, my question is that does this apply
Barely
to
audible.
even those aspiring disciples as well?
No, everybody. Of course, technically aspiring from a particular guru, not that they don't become, I mean, they don't become responsible at that point of time. But if from sheltered onwards, all devotees, disciples have to become cautious.
Even
Which is
those
why
aspiring.
we take a lot of time, we like, take so much of time to bring anybody to the stage of even recommending for shelter. We are like, we are to be 100% sure that because we will then become responsible. Become being by via media of recommending devotees to a particular guru. It could be any guru. I mean, when devotees come to me saying that I want recommendation for this guru, that guru, first I have to go and then understand what they are doing, where they are, where are they practicing. If they're not coming to center to me, I will say then I can't recommend because I don't know you. Right? Then we have to understand their sadhana, their life, and sometimes people don't reveal everything. It's very tricky, right? So then we have to take responsibility. So it's not a, yeah. So sheltered onwards, everybody has to become responsible about this. So I tell these things when I talk to people who come to me. I say, see, if you do nonsense, your guru is going to suffer. Are you ready? Are you clear? You are not doing any nonsense. Because anything else we say, they won't be afraid. They'll just think, okay, I have some way to escape. But we tell this saying that, see, if you do anything nonsense, your guru is going to suffer. Are you ready for it? And this has to be lifelong. Then they'll say, no, no, Prabhu, okay, we'll come back. I said, okay, good, no problem. Think and come back. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Thank you all for joining. So we'll close here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki